Let's set the scene. April 2025. The air is crisp, flowers are blooming, and the world seems to be waking up from winter. But beneath this calm, something dramatic is unfolding in the global economy. U.S. imports suddenly plunge, an $8.3 billion, 3.6% drop from March. That's not just a blip, it's a seismic shift, sending shockwaves through ports and warehouses across the country. This isn't a minor dip, it's one of the sharpest monthly declines since the pandemic. And it's got everyone from Wall Street to Main Street asking, what's going on? The answer? Businesses went on a Q1 buying spree, racing to stock up before new tariffs hit. It was a frantic dash, with companies scrambling to get ahead of looming costs. Warehouses overflowed as companies tried to beat the tariff clock. Pallets stacked to the ceiling, storage space maxed out, everyone was bracing for impact. But after this rush, April imports crashed by over 16%. The surge was followed by a sudden silence, as if the supply chain had slammed on the brakes. It's like everyone bought their holiday gifts early, leaving shelves empty later. Retailers and shoppers alike are now feeling the aftershocks, with some products suddenly hard to find. The trade deficit narrowed slightly, but don't celebrate yet. It's not a sign of economic health. In fact, it's a red flag that something's off in the flow of goods and money. A drop this steep signals deeper trouble in the global supply chain. It's not just about fewer ships or trucks, it's about a system under stress, struggling to adapt. The stuff we use daily, phones, cars, groceries, often comes from abroad. When imports slow, it ripples out to every corner of our lives, from tech to food to transportation. When imports crash, it means the supply chain is seizing up. Goods stall at borders, factories wait for parts, and shelves start to look bare. And the main culprit? Tariffs. These new trade barriers are making it harder and more expensive to move goods across borders, creating uncertainty for everyone. This isn't just about numbers, it's about the flow of goods that keeps the economy running. Every box, every shipment, every delivery is part of a much bigger story. A sudden stop like this is a warning sign for everyone. It's a signal that the system we rely on is under threat, and the consequences could be far-reaching. The global trade engine is sputtering, and tariffs are clogging the gears. If this continues, the effects could ripple out for months, or even years. We're just at the beginning of this story. The next chapters will reveal how businesses, workers, and families adapt to this new reality. Buckle up, things are about to get bumpy. The ride ahead could reshape the way we trade, shop, and live in ways we're only starting to imagine. Let's talk tariffs, those hidden costs that sneak into almost everything we buy, often without us even realizing it. Tariffs are essentially a government-imposed cover charge on imported goods, a fee that gets tacked on before products even hit the shelves. Recently, the Biden administration has ramped up tariffs, especially targeting Chinese products. The idea is to protect U.S. industries, encourage domestic manufacturing, and reduce America's reliance on foreign supply chains, especially from China. But these good intentions come with a hefty price tag that's hard to ignore, especially when you're shopping for everyday essentials. For example, Chinese electric vehicles now face a staggering 100% tariff, doubling their cost overnight. Other products in the crosshairs include semiconductors, solar cells, batteries, and even critical medical supplies, all of which are now much more expensive to import. The goal? To make American-made goods more appealing by making imports painfully expensive, hoping consumers will choose local products instead. But here's where it gets complicated: tariff stacking. That's when multiple tariffs pile up on a single product, sometimes pushing total import taxes to a jaw-dropping 70% or more. Imagine you're a business owner importing $60,000 worth of goods, only to be hit with $42,000 in tariffs alone. That's not just a small fee, it's a massive financial blow. Or take a container of Italian wine. Duties can skyrocket from $27,000 to over $130,000 with the latest tariff hikes, making luxury imports almost unattainable for many. These aren't minor fees, they're massive hurdles that someone, somewhere has to pay. And that cost doesn't just disappear. More often than not, that someone is the end consumer, regular people like you and me, who see higher prices at the checkout counter. Tariffs ripple through the entire supply chain, inflating costs at every step, from the factory floor to the store shelf, making everything from electronics to groceries more expensive. The result? Higher prices for everyone, forcing families to make tough choices and sometimes put things back on the shelf. Tariffs may sound technical or distant, but in reality, they hit your wallet directly, making everyday life just a little bit more expensive for all of us. Who gets hit hardest by tariffs? Not the corporate giants, but small and medium businesses, the backbone of Main Street. Take Regent Tech Industries, which makes pavement markings. Their import costs soared tenfold due to tariffs. They can't pass all those costs to customers, so they lose projects and face layoffs. Small businesses run on thin margins and can't negotiate big discounts or easily raise prices. They're squeezed, absorb the cost and lose profit, or raise prices and lose customers. It's a lose-lose situation. Even supply chain firms, warehouses and logistics companies are suffering as inventory movement stalls. Warehouses are full, but goods aren't moving because no one wants to pay the new higher prices. The result, a jammed-up system, with small businesses stuck in the middle. Tariffs don't just hit businesses, they hit you, the consumer. Expect fewer choices on store shelves and higher prices on what's left. Need car parts or electronics? They're likely to cost more or take longer to arrive. Even groceries, imported cheese, fruit, or staples could see price hikes. Retailers, spooked by tariff uncertainty, are ordering less, shrinking variety. Many will pass higher costs to customers, but not all can get away with it. The result? A marketplace that's more expensive and less diverse. Your purchasing power erodes, one tariff-inflated product at a time. The American dream just got pricier. Think tariffs are just an American headache? Think again. The ripple effects of U.S. tariffs stretch far beyond American borders, touching nearly every corner of the globe and reshaping the way countries do business with each other. U.S. tariffs send shockwaves through global trade, hitting partners like China, Mexico, and Vietnam. These countries, once major suppliers to American markets, are now scrambling to adapt as their exports face new barriers and higher costs. China's exports to the U.S. fell 6% in April 2025. Factories are slowing, jobs are at risk. For many workers, uncertainty is the new normal, as companies cut shifts and production lines sit idle. It's not just big economies. Greece saw exports drop 14.5% and imports fall 11.4%, partly due to new tariffs. Smaller nations, heavily reliant on trade, are feeling the pinch even more acutely. Even Greek staples like olive oil and feta are caught in the crossfire. Local producers worry about losing access to key markets, threatening livelihoods and traditions that have lasted generations. The impact is global, affecting products and communities everywhere. From farmers to factory workers, families are feeling the strain as prices rise and demand falls. Shipping is also disrupted. Ocean freight orders to the U.S. have paused as businesses wait out the tariff storm. Warehouses fill up, and shipping schedules are thrown into chaos. Fewer ships from China have driven up freight rates by 88% on the China-US route. The cost of moving goods is soaring, squeezing profit margins for companies big and small. This spike may be temporary, but it adds more cost and uncertainty. Businesses are forced to make tough choices, absorb the costs, pass them to consumers, or find new suppliers. The world's delivery system is hiccuping, and everyone feels it. Delays and shortages are becoming more common, making it harder for companies to plan ahead. Tariffs don't just change prices, they change the flow of goods worldwide. Supply chains are being rerouted and new trade alliances are forming as countries look for alternatives. Every link in the supply chain is under pressure. From sourcing raw materials to delivering finished products, the entire process is being tested like never before. The effects ripple from factory floors in Asia to store shelves in America. Consumers may soon notice higher prices, fewer choices, and longer waits for the products they want. Global trade is a delicate web, and tariffs are shaking it hard. The balance that kept goods flowing smoothly is now under threat, and the consequences are still unfolding. No country is immune to the fallout. Whether you're a producer, a consumer, or a policymaker, the effects of tariffs are impossible to ignore. The world is learning, one nation's tariffs are everyone's problem. In today's interconnected economy, trade barriers in one country can quickly become a global challenge. So are tariffs a smart move or a costly mistake? Supporters say tariffs protect American jobs and industries, shielding them from cheap foreign competition. The hope: more domestic manufacturing, less reliance on imports, and a stronger economy. Critics argue tariffs are blunt tools that raise costs for businesses and consumers, risk trade wars, and disrupt supply chains. Higher costs can mean job cuts or price hikes for consumers. The Biden administration stands firm, using tariffs as a strategic tool, especially against China. It's a high-stakes gamble, balancing protection with economic pain, and in the middle, your wallet, feeling the squeeze. What's next in this tariff-fueled roller coaster? Experts predict more volatility, inflation pressure, and uncertainty. Businesses are scrambling to adapt, automating, reshoring, and diversifying suppliers to reduce risk. De-risking is the buzzword. Don't rely on one country, especially China. July 8, 2025 looms large. If a key tariff pause expires, rates on some goods could jump even higher. Imagine your favorite t-shirt suddenly costing much more. Meanwhile, warehouses are packed with goods imported before tariffs hit, but no one wants to pay the new prices to move them. Storage costs are soaring and inventory is stuck. It's a costly game of chicken. Who will blink first? The system is clogged and the price to unclog it keeps rising. The future? More bumps ahead. So, what's the big takeaway? Tariffs are a complex, double-edged sword. They aim to protect jobs and industries but also raise prices and disrupt global trade. The April 2025 import plunge was a warning. The global economy is under stress. Every tariff decision sends ripples worldwide, affecting workers, businesses, and consumers. The question, are tariffs the right medicine, or just a bitter pill with side effects? As the dust settles, everyone, from policymakers to shoppers, must weigh the costs and benefits. The world is watching, wallets in hand. What do you think?